Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, and I am a member of the Singer Island Civic Association, and today we are very proud to present face shields to our paramedics and our firefighters. I'd like to make a special thank you to John Gustafson, our president, Mike McGregor, our board member, some lovely gentlemen from the AMRIT who decided after we put out the call that they were generous enough to underwrite it. So I'd like to introduce or say hello to Raja and to Sanja. Is that correct? Thank you. And also to Da Vinci 3D printing. They also were very instrumental in, obviously they created these. This is the second or third design, but everything is in short supply. So these are actually kept, the bands are actually we're using rubber bands. So they're not grab and go. These face shields are actually meant to be owned. So a special thank you to everyone, and we're just so thrilled that we can help our firefighters and paramedics. They're the ones who are on the front lines of our community helping us. Thank you.
Jonathan Evans, City Manager, Riviera Beach. We can't thank SECA enough and the AMRIT for contributing these items to the agency. As you know, that our first responders and medical personnel are on the front line of fighting this pandemic. And this is something that is desperate need for our first responders as they're going into situations with an enemy that's unknown and a virus that we have never treated the likes of. So these types of materials are invaluable to our first responders, and our public safety personnel gladly accepts the donation and contribution. And this is what makes our community special, that when the call was put out, that our community came to the need and our business partners came to the rescue, as well as our agencies in our community. So we're thankful and grateful for the PPEs, personal protective equipment, and this will go to use as our first responders at the end of the day go into situations that they have no idea, no understanding of what they're combating, but at the end of the day we want to send them home safe and sound, and this makes sure that makes that job a little bit more easier and provides some protection as they go into challenging situations. This particular pandemic has affected our community, has affected it on multiple levels, from losing one of our own to seeing the cases in Riviera Beach start to increase. And so I want to turn this presentation over to Chief John Curd, and then following Police Chief Nathan Osgood to share a little remarks from our public safety team. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Again, my name is John Curd, Interim Fire Chief, and we can't thank SECA and their partners enough, along with Riviera Beach City Council, for partnering with us, trying to help us obtain the PPE needed to keep our police, firefighters, and paramedics safe during this pandemic. This is going to be much needed PPE. Obviously, the objective is to provide as many layers between the patient and us to the patient as possible. We're currently putting masks on our patients. We now have face shields, and we also have our first responders in respirators as well. So this is going to actually help us prolong the use of our PPE, which is going to prevent contamination of the mask and some of the other PPE that they're wearing. So it's going to provide a tremendous service to our first responders. And again, thank you. We couldn't do it without you all coming to the rescue of us in our time of need. Thank you.
And I too would like to echo the sentiments. A big thank you to SECA. We appreciate it. When this pandemic first hit off, the first thing we do, we get a call from SECA asking, what can we do? How can we help? Well, as you know, the whole country experienced a shortage when it comes to PPE gear, the mask and the gloves. And they stepped up and said, here's how we're going to help. Business as usual, we want to say, but not really. Our police officers and first responders still have to respond to calls. We have to go to calls. And we've been doing so without masks and gears. So then we started getting the gears in and running short. When SECA stepped up and provided the much needed PPE gear, we have to say nothing but thank you, and it allowed us to continue to do the job to the community. So we still have to go out and see the public and treat them and see calls as needed and handle these situations and make sure our public is safe. Again, thank you.
John Gustafson, Sika. With this pandemic and the situation out there, we just felt that it was right to help where we could. And I would really like to thank the Amerant Resort for also coming in and underwriting this, and I'd like to bring them in as well. Come here.
On behalf of Amerant, we're very thankful that we could help out, and we're very, very blessed and grateful to the first responders here for the service that they do. And as you know, that we're here on Singer Island, so we are a part of the community, and we're happy to help. Thank you.
Again, on behalf of the City Council, the residents of Riviera Beach, the first responders, and the medical professionals we have in our agency, we cannot thank you all enough. And we look forward to better days, to where we don't have to don the equipment that we have to don now, but this is our new norm and we have to respond to it. And for the men and women in uniform that go out there day in and day out, we appreciate your service and your tireless effort to ensure that our community remains safe, and we ask that our residents adhere to the recommendations as provided by the CDC, reputable government sources, as well as what you're hearing from your caring physicians. It's important that we adhere to the recommendations that are being provided, because your safety ultimately assists us in making sure our first responders are safe so they can go home to their loved ones. So again, thank you for being here this afternoon, and please be safe, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
There are 100 masks, there are 100 shields, there are 98.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
We would gladly accept.